Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. And we are back in Premier League action as we take on Brighton away. And Tottenham are desperate to return to winning ways and to help us ease the nerves ahead of today's game, because it's going to be a tough one. It's not going to be easy. We are, of course, joined by Mr. Daigle and the one and only, the Godfather. Everybody, big up for checking out Philip's Daily Thoughts as well, coming to you every single day. So keep getting the support behind them. First of all, Daigle, how are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay. Things are a bit hectic here at the moment, but getting better. But it feels very, very weird today, waking up and not putting on a certain shirt. It's felt very, very strange having to put on this non-stained, non-We Are Tottenham TV T-shirt because the streak is over. But like you said, it's a very, very tough game today. But hopefully, we'll see some changes in the result and maybe the formation.
Yeah, well, look, we'll wait and see. I think there's definitely cause for a change of formation, but we will hit on that in just a while. Mr. Brady, how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm good, lads. Yeah, looking forward to this. Quietly confident. You know, when we owe Brighton one after the trip I made over last season and they beat us at our place, so we definitely owe them one for that. So, yeah, I'm with a little bit of tweaking the formation today is needed, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But, yeah, I think we'll get 3 points today.
Yeah, Trossard dummied the shot, and Dyer turned his back like he was about to be splashed with water, and they went on to get the 1-0 win. Yeah, but we did win at their place last season, and your boy was there watching Harry Kane kick that Coke bottle. 2 favourite things in the world, Harry Kane and Coca-Cola. I mean, it was absolutely a match made in heaven. So let's have more repeats of that today, please. That would be absolutely awesome, Big H. Now let's take a few comments in, and then we're going to crack on and get into it. Andre Smith says, when Spurs lose today, I'm going to see who is going to say I told you so. Kev Williams says, F off Arsenal. Pigeon, Richarlison, the Pigeon TV says, hello, guys. Big up. What a name. Cracking name. Cola Vias says, hello. Big up, my man. DJ Samuel says, guys. Who else have we got here? We've got Flash Arrow. Big up, my man. Good to see you. Jamesy from Spurs Related is en route to the stadium, to the Amex. Guys, 2-1 Spurs. Yeah, it's on a college campus, James. Hopefully you don't get lost, my man. And make sure you record another one of them match day vlogs, brother. Everyone get over and check them out. They're quality. He has one done from Frankfurt as well. Tequila316 says, hello to the flat cap and the Irish armies. Let's hunt some orc or seagulls. Anyway, yeah, it's time to go seagull shooting, my man. Get them guns ready, Tequila. Pierre Rogie says, big up, everyone. Happy match day. Come on. Absolutely love that. Who else have we got? Scott Fitzgerald says, pump me up, baby. Big up, my man. We've got Leo Williams, 5:30 a.m. here. Come on, you Spurs early riser. That's what we like to see. All in support of the boys. Big up, Leo. Abhishek says, guys, who else have we got? We've got Wisdom Wolves this afternoon, lads. Big up, my man. We've also got Welsh guys says, greeting David Jack. Big yourselves up. Come on, the mighty Spurs. Let's not let the Seagulls steal our chips. Well, look, Jack is actually sick this morning, so he did say he'd be all right for the watch-along, but we'll wait and see. But no Jack on until the watch-along today, guys. Kieran Spiteri says, big up, Dave. Guys, let's get this for a win. Hopefully we stick to Perisic and C together and Cess together. That's the wing-backs I want to see, and I almost got a heart attack when Dyer nearly got injured because we need him. I never thought I'd say it, but yeah, I'd rather him play than Ben Davies or Sanchez, to be honest with you, Kieran. Jack Goff says, big up the legend, Mr. Brian Daigle. Watched the late show this morning. It was quite superb, as always. Keep it up, brother. Big up, Jack. Good to see you in the building. Jack Bloom, 2022. Afternoon, Spurs fans. Jeez, the Jack Army's in today. Jack's sick. It must be all these little fake accounts. I love it. We've got Cameron the Elephant says, guys, big up, Cameron. Good to see you. We've also got Elvis in the building says, guys, let's take a few more. Simon McClure says, big up, boss man Dave. Nervous about this evening slightly. Look, I think we're all in our right to be nervous today, but you know, regardless, these are the sort of games we have to be winning if we want to stay in the top 4, or if we want to even do better than that. We have to be winning these games. Derek Hutchins says, good afternoon, Dave, Brian, Philip. Let's thrash the Seagulls. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, look, I've never had battered Seagull, but I'm willing to try it today, Derek. Big yourself up, brother. We've got Fiona says, hopefully we'll be more lively in the 5:30 game. I'm expecting a lot of goals in this game. And yeah, it's a point that Philip made in his daily thoughts today. And, I've always said it, Tottenham do not do well at 12:30 kickoff whatsoever. So hopefully now today that the kickoff's a bit later, we'll see a much better cohesive.
You know what? I just got that mixed up because it's 12:30 kickoff for us today. And I just realised you meant 5:30 because 12:30 is when you kicked off against the Filth. And it don't do bad. So I was wondering, I've got it now. I've got it. It's my time's no different.
Scott Hynam says, big up to all guys. Big up, Scotty Hynam. Good to see you, brother. And we've got Paul Pablo says, leave you out. We want to know who in. Fair enough. And Young Putty says, come on, you Spurs. Bless up, everyone. And then Steve D says, oi, lads, just back from golf course. We still pissed on the first. Played bloody great. Absolutely loving it, Steve D. Absolutely smashing it out, my man. Harry Kane would be very proud. Harry Kane absolutely loves golf. I know people say Matt Doherty play with him. I'll be honest. I think he pays Matt Doherty to caddy, if I'm being brutally honest, to be honest with you, Steve D. But big yourself up, and hopefully you enjoyed your day. But look, I'm going to tell everybody absolutely everything they need to know about today's game. Of course, we are away at the Amex. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. The referee today is actually a very inexperienced guy. If Dark Song G is listening, he wouldn't have too much stats on this guy today. His name is Tony Harrington. And basically he's a very inexperienced referee. And you've got a lot of experienced guys around him. He's only new to the Premier League, so hopefully he is up to par today, because the refereeing during the week was absolutely shocking. And in the VAR room, we've got a good omen in there today, Stuart Atwell. He does like to give Tottenham decisions, although I'm pretty sure it was him that didn't give us the penalty at West Ham. If you want to watch the game in the UK and Ireland, it is on Sky Sports. And if you want to watch the game across the pond in USA, it is on NBC. And the watch along will be kicking off at 5 p.m. today, guys. So make sure you tune in. Injuries, of course, Dejan Kulusevski out with his hamstring. Lucas Moura out with his Achilles. Emerson, of course, is suspended. I'm sure a lot of people are buzzing over that. And Tanganga is expected to miss out with a knock, I'm hearing. And then Jakob Mulder is out with his knee. Enoch and Wepu will face a late test today, along with and Moses Caicedo is back fit, and he'll probably slot back in beside McAllister. The two of them have been doing a great job for Brighton in the middle of this season. But guys, make sure you do smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you are new, and feel free at any time to put in a super chat. Get your thoughts in. It highlights, basically skips the queue. All of us will have a good discussion on it. Do not be afraid. Whether you agree, disagree, we'll all have a good conversation on it. But keep getting your comments in, and we will bring them up.
David, can I just add one thing? Okay, yeah. Very, very quickly. You mentioned across the pond. In Canada, anyone that wants to watch it is not on DAZN anymore. It is available on Fubo. So it will Fubo, which is FUBO, which is another subscription service. The zone only has the Champions League, so they've been arseholes. You've got to have 2 subscriptions, which is quite annoying. But Fubo for the Premier League for everyone in Canada.
There you go, guys. I remember that now. I'll put that down in my notes for the pre-match build-up. Fubo for Premier League, the Zone for Champions League. Big up Ribsy85 all the way across from the pond as well. Big up Johnny Stokes in the house as well. Absolute legends. But look, we've a number of things to talk about. I want to talk about the Zerbi's comments. I want to talk about the away form, which is not good. I also want to talk about the formation today, maybe a couple of changes we could see. And there's one more thing I want to talk about, the amount of shots we actually face on goal. We're facing 16 on average per game. But look, we'll start with you, Philip, and then we'll get Daigle in. Philip, Brighton manager Roberto we'll start with you, Daigle first, and then we'll go to Philip. Brighton manager Roberto De Zerbi has said he believes Conte can guide Tottenham to the Premier League title this season. Is it possible, Daigle? Can Conte do it, or is this guy just smoking Conte's ass?
Oh, it's definitely the latter. It's definitely the latter. Listen, this is what happens with managers and mind games and everything. Listen, Antonio Conte is going to do wonders for Tottenham Hotspur. He's the best manager we could possibly get. I love him to pieces. There's just no way we are winning the Premier League this year. Not a chance. Look at Man City that are flying with Haaland. It's not feasible. It's not feasible. Not to say we can't make a push for it or try and get second or third. I just think the Premier League this season is a bridge too far to try and travel. I'd love it to happen, but I think this is a lot of here we go, my first home game. Let's try to take some of the pressure off. And so, yeah, Tottenham are really well. They're going to win the Premier League. I think it's very, very good psychological. Let's start playing mind games. I just can't see us winning the I'd love it, but hand on heart, I just cannot see us winning the Premier League this year. It's a bridge too far.
It's going to be very hard if Haaland keeps scoring at the rate he does. He's an absolute superhuman. But this guy knows from his time from Italy. He knows what Conte is like. He knows exactly how Conte's teams operates. And look, if he says we could do it, and then we have to remember Inter did take the crown off Juve. Let's see what Tottenham could do. I do agree. It is starting to become, when you look at how good City are and how good Haaland is, it does look like it's beyond the realms of possible. But you just never know. You never know. But Philip, De Zerbi also said after 1 year working with Antonio Conte, Tottenham can win the Premier League. I think these are words that need to be heard loud and clear when put like that. Are we actually disrespecting Conte when we are questioning him and everything he is doing? Because, I think Spurs fans are forgetting 1 year this guy is here. And at the start of the season, he already had us in the Premier League title talk.
He's not even a year here. He's 11 months. I think he joined on the 2nd of November or thereabouts. And I mean, and again, this is harping back to some of the fans calling for his head during the week there. I'm just shaking my head because, it's quite incredible that some people have lost patience with him already. Just because we lost to Arsenal, let's face it, we go to that spot nearly every year and come away with nothing. We haven't won there since 2010. So, okay, we'll take it as a given. They beat us at their place, we beat them at our place. That's it. It's going to happen. But to want Conte to leave, as Brian said, he's the best manager we've had. He's the best manager we've had since Bill Nicholson, right? And I'm including Pochettino in that. His Pochettino will be next. So the Brighton manager is playing mind games, obviously, saying we can win the league. Of course we can win the league. He might as well say that Nottingham Forest can win the league. And technically, anybody can win the league at this stage. Only 8 matches gone. But in reality, there is nobody going to touch Man City. I mean, I can see the bookies paying out by Christmas on it because they're just too good. They've got too much money. They've got too much influence. And there's nobody going to stop them. We will press. We will be going hard for the top 4, no problem. But to say we're going to win the league, now if we have a good season this season, come in the top 4, top 3 even, and can generate the right type of recruitment between now and next season, maybe next season we might take it up a bit more seriously, because let's face it, some of City's players getting on a little bit, a few of them, they can't keep it up forever. They might have a row with Pep Guardiola, he might leave. So you never know what happens, but no, it's mind games. Spurs will win a trophy this season, but it won't be the championship.
Yeah, look, even if we can pick up one of the domestic trophies, which I don't think is beyond impossible, to be honest with you, because we know how to get a result against City, we know how to get a result against Liverpool. But I do think as fans, we should probably take note of what that guy did say, where he's talking about, basically he's alluding to where Conte has brought Tottenham from the Europa Conference League to talking to the top of the Premier League. So I do think Spurs fans should actually pay attention to those words. I do have the full quote there if anyone wants me to read it out. But I think we definitely have to take stock of what he said and maybe realize, it's like Philip said, it's 11 months. So I think we just need to slow down a little bit and have a bit more patience. But Daigle, I want to talk a bit about the away form here because it has not been good this season. It's 1 win across 6 away games. Now, Tottenham have struggled away from home, like I said, and that 1 win actually came at Nottingham Forest. Brian, is our away form something that we should actually start to be concerned about a little?
Yeah, it should be. If you look at it, listen, the last year of Poch, our Champions League run papered over the cracks at our horrific away record. And obviously with Jose, it wasn't much better. And Nuno, let's not even go through that, and Mason. And now this has started this way. And listen, people sometimes have it that it's hard. You got to remember, we're trying to find our best lineup within the new players that have come in. We're trying to find the best style of play. We've still got Bissouma to come in. We still need Kulusevski to get back fit. it's a concern. And the thing is, if you're going to, as we were speaking about before, challenge for the title, your away form needs to be every bit as good as your home form. And that's how you compete. And right now, it is a concern. And the thing is, as well, what you've got to remember is these kind of runs and bad parts of form, the players know about it. They may not look at the press. They may not look at social media. But, you know, when we've seen it on the documentary, Sky Sports News is always on in the cafeteria, whatever you want to call it. Therefore, I'm sure when they get home, the first thing they do is whack on Sky Sports News. Yeah. These kind of runs, they know about it. And also, that the club has its own analysis and statisticians and everything to work on this. The away form is a concern. If you want to get top four, if you want to compete for the cups, if you want to compete for a title, your away form needs to be there. And like you said, to think we've only won at Forest. Bear in mind, there's a draw at Chelsea, there's a draw at West Ham, and obviously, I don't even want to talk about last week and where that was and what happened. But they start to add up, don't they? That's if you look at that's 9 points just in London, and we've taken 2. There's a big problem, and hopefully that will resolve itself today. But if it doesn't, this away form that we're talking about, it then goes on to the next one, and then so on and so on. And it needs to be rectified quick.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the away form is something that it's really letting me down. And I'll be honest, I think it's something to do with how deep we sit. I think because when you're sitting deep and you're allowing the opposition the ball with their home crowd around them, they're almost like willing it to go into the net or willing them up into the final third. And with the away crowd then and the home team basically dominating proceedings, I think that definitely has something to do with our away form because we're just allowing them to come on to us. I do think maybe away from home, we probably need to start engaging them a bit further up the pitch and don't allow them so much time and ball and space around the edge of our box. But we will get on to talking about the amount of shots we concede. But Philip, here are our away games this season. Arsenal, West Ham, Chelsea, Forest, Sporting and Frankfurt. When you look at the games on paper, 3 London derbies, 2 in the Champions League, is our away form as bad as maybe journos and me even are making it out to be?
No, I'll tell you, I've got an issue with the Premier League, the way they've set out those fixtures. First 5 games of this season, we have 3 or 7 games of this season. We have 3 away games, all London derbies, all away, all against teams who class us as their biggest rival. So, like, you know, it's at least be fair. Give us home away on those games. But no, we've had the 3 of them away, pretty much close to each other. We've got draws against Chelsea and West Ham. We got beaten by Arsenal, fair enough. So I think, you know, if those fixtures have been spaced out a little bit more, or at least one of them have been at home, and then an away match against another team, the form wouldn't be so bad. Like, I would class an away point at Chelsea for us is quite good. You know, we should beat West Ham. We didn't. And as Brian says, we'll forget about last week. But no, I think the form will be tested by games like today. We're playing teams, not London-based teams, and if we can't beat Brighton today, I think then we have a slight problem with our away form. But the bright side of those 3 away games with the London rivals is they all got to come to our place yet.
Exactly, that's the best.
In the World Cup. So
I prefer it this way, Phil. I know what you were saying about 3 back-to-back North or London derbies, and I prefer it this way. Get these ones out early, so in the second half of the season, they've all got to come to us. I know what you're saying, where it's a bit unfair that it's worked this way, but in this year as well, with the World Cup in between, I'm delighted that we're getting them all out of the way, because you can say, here we go, and if you look at it, at home, we normally give these guys a game. We normally smash West Ham, we normally smash the filth, and Chelsea... It's up and down, but that could quickly reverse and work in our favour. But I know what you're saying.
So there's 2 ways of looking at this then. A, Philip, you know, have the Premier League sabotaged us? And B, do you think then the back end of fixtures after the World Cup will actually suit us? And that's when you'll probably see us pick up form like we did last sort of February and go on and have a strong end to the season.
I hope so. Like, I'm not saying the Premier League did it on purpose. Whatever way the computer works these things out, you know. But I just think that in fair play, to have 3 London derbies all away, one after each other, isn't really the way it should be. You know, they should be spaced out, or at least home away. Didn't happen. Nothing we can do about it. You know, and we're not Jurgen Klopp moaning about every single thing that he can think about. You know, So
Phil,
we just
can
get
I
on
ask
with
you
it.
something, Phil? In regards to that, and I just thought of this, for me, again, I think that might have been a better thing. Because if you look at it, if we'd been playing, if we'd gone to Manchester City or Newcastle, whatever, and then Europe, all that travelling, Newcastle, let's say, and back, or Manchester and back, then on a plane and back, and then playing in London I'm not saying it does, but may have been easier for us because of obviously the travel and the players not having to go so far all the bloody time. It may have, obviously, it hasn't worked that way because of our Champions League away form and our form, but you look at it that way, it may have saved a lot of time and relaxation for the players not having to travel across the country.
Well, it's possible, yeah, and sure enough. And if you look at next week's scenario, we're playing Eintracht Frankfurt on Wednesday, I think, and then we're home to Everton on, is it Saturday evening?
Yeah.
So that's fair enough. I mean, that could have been a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. I'm watching Celtic at the moment. Celtic played in Europe on Wednesday night, and they're playing at 12:30 today. So, you know, you're right. The travel does make an issue. And but I think the team, I think normally they travel back the night of the match and stay in Hotspur away. So they'll probably be home by 2:00 in the morning of the night of the match.
Well, considering bar the Champions League, then we've only played one match outside of London. Should our results be better then?
Well, obviously we all want the results to be better. So, like, the home form is a cause for concern, but I wouldn't say it's getting into the red zone just yet.
Yeah.
You know, it might be if we lose today, because then there's going to be another reaction from a lot of the fans about it. You know, but let's see how we get on today.
No, we will. We will. Big up DB. Look, do you know what you do, lad? You order up like a Chinese or something later on tonight, you know, that she doesn't know about, and she'll be absolutely fine. She may be angry for the day, but when you order up that Chinese, all is forgiven. Honestly, sometimes it can be that easy. She will understand, DB. Just tell her Tottenham is on. Should be part of the deal when he got married anyway, my man. Beat yourself up. We've got a member chat here from Wayne Bonner, member for 15 months. Wayner, it is absolutely great to see you, my man. He says, afternoon all. Hope we turn up today unlike the last two games. The points are ours. Come on, you fucking Spurs. Tottenham till I die. Hello, Mr. Harris, Mr. Daigle, and the Godfather. Wayno, we've got to turn up today. There's been a lot of scrutiny on Antonio Conte, a lot of scrutiny surrounding some of our top players. And it doesn't help with the passing of Ventroni either, which is very, very sad. But against all the odds today, this is where you gather your team spirit. This is where everyone comes together, and this is where you go out and put in a cohesive performance. Where most people aren't expecting us to win today, even outside of Tottenham fans, a lot of people are not expecting us to win today. So now's the time to show them how good we really are. Let's turn up at the Amex and let's shut everybody up and let's make them stand up and take note. It was supposed to be done in the North London Derby. It wasn't. So let's do it today, Wayno. 3 points is absolutely crucial. Daigle, do you want to say that to Wayno?
Yeah, Mr. 57 Screens. It's really good to see him back because he was away for a bit, and I love Mr. Wayne Bonner. Listen, today, as we know, it's every game where the form hasn't been great or the football, the pressure amongst the fans and the frustration of the football. You know what? If we're playing this football when we're winning, everyone doesn't care. As soon as it's a draw or defeat, the style of football comes into question. And it's just a snowball effect. And we know, personally, for me, after that Frankfurt draw, Wednesday is a win or nothing. It's literally because our Champions League, if we don't get a good result, then we're really on the back foot. So today we've got to go out there and put a performance. And hopefully, like you said, with the sad and tragic passing of the Marine, hopefully that will spur the players on and give them extra fire in their bellies to say, right, let's do it for the Marine. And it's vital today, absolutely vital that we get those 3 points.
100%. And just touching on the Marine, there'll be an applause for the guy on 61 minutes. So everybody make sure you get involved on that. And the Tottenham players will also be wearing T-shirts in the pre-match warm-up as well. And there'll be a minute silence held. But we will touch on that maybe towards the end of the show. But I also want to encourage anyone that is tuning in and going to the match today. I think we've got to stand up and sing Antonio Conte's name today. I think we've got to let him know he's still loved, he's still wanted. We still appreciate everything that he's done for this club since he's come in and what he's going to do. I do think it's important to let him know that he is loved, because you have to remember, this guy, Ventroni, the Marine. He coached Conte at Juve, so they have a long, outstanding relationship. They are long-term friends, so he will be very, very hurt today. So, guys, please, if you're at the game, Jamesy, I know you're going. Please encourage everybody to sing Antonio. It's a tough day for him too. I know we expect him to be this tough guy and everything else, but at the end of the day, he's human and he will be hurting. So please, everybody, sing Antonio Conte's name, because the passing of the Marine definitely would have affected him today for sure. Who did I? Philip. The away games also they're not getting any easier. The next few are Manchester United, Bournemouth, Marseille, and Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup before domestic football goes on a break in November for the World Cup. What do we have to do to show everyone we don't actually have a problem traveling away from home?
So actually, that could you ask that question to Brian? Somebody just come in here, have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Go again, David, with the question.
So basically, our next few away games, Brian, it's Man United, it's Bournemouth, Marseille, and Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup. That's the list of our away games after today, before the break of the World Cup. But what do we have to do to show people that we don't have a problem going away from home? Because in the Premier League, when these teams come out, teams will capitalize on it eventually.
Yeah, listen. What I think we've got to do as well, and like you said, Conte. I have to say this before. With Conte, you got to look at it with the emotion he's going through. If you talk about it as a community, look how we were as a community just over a year ago, or just coming up to a year, when Bob Spur went into his coma and went through everything. Everyone was like, "How is he? How is he? How is he?" And we all came together. We all helped with getting his dad's funeral. Everyone come together. Well, you think about that with Conte, that someone's known for 30 goddamn years and pretty much seen every single day of his life. This guy is heartbroken. This guy is literally, it's like someone that he saw all the time. It's just, there you go, gone. It's huge. So the singing of Antonio Conte and remembering just how much he is loved is essential today. I'll say even more than the performance, to remind him that forget the style of play, forget everything. We are with you through everything and we love you to pieces. And let that man just knows that he's not walking alone, and that we're all behind him. But when it comes to the away form, we've got to adapt. And I know we're going to talk about formations. I'm starting to think now, and this is Antonio Conte. Listen, he knows a lot better than all of us put together. He gets paid the big bucks. But I feel that we're all calling for that 3-5-2. We're all saying we can see it. But then he kind of asks, is he just being stubborn by not doing it now? Or is he just saying, right, you guys are calling it, I'm going to show you 3-4-3? Or is it something he's seen in the squad that's not working? And we haven't had, obviously, we don't get to see everything. But I think he's got to start. What annoyed me about Frankfurt was, after that Arsenal game, if we had gone to Frankfurt and tried something different, and we didn't get the result, at least we can say, okay, we tried something different. It was a brand new formation. Here we go. This is the thing. When we keep doing the same thing, and we can clearly see, and David, you're leaving a bit, Harry Kane was woeful on Wednesday, woeful. As was the entire front three. The entire front three were not out, and we can see that in that three, how vital Kulusevski is. To me, when we play three up top, Kulusevski is the most important component in it, hands down, to make it all tick. Not saying he's the best player, but in that component, he has to be a part of it. And when he's not there, we have to try something different. Like we kept saying last season with the 3-4-3, we want to see 3-5-2. And it was like he didn't have the players to play that formation. He didn't trust them. Well, now you would led to believe that he has got the players that he can trust. We saw him do it against Leicester at the end. So there is flexibility now in this formation. And it's whether he's going to be bold and say, do you know what, I'm going to try something different. Because let's face it, if we go 3-5-2 today, and it's a 0-0 or a 1-1 or whatever, yeah, people are going to be annoyed. We want the 3 points, but we can see something that we saw, and then we could come back and say, do you know what? It didn't work. We all wanted to see it. He tried it. It didn't work. We understand why the 3-4-3 is where he's going now. And I think especially in these games where you look at all these away games, the problem once again is we have been overrunning midfield. And why have we been overrunning midfield? Because they're putting extra bodies in there. So I think we do need to be able to mix it up a bit more and flex rather than being forced into it. just go for it. But again, like I said, Antonio Conte knows a hell of a lot better than me and a hell of a lot better than all of us put together. So, in my opinion, I'd like to just see a little bit of variation, and maybe that can bring some joy in away games.
Yeah, look, there's definitely a shout for it, Brian. I've been saying that the last number of weeks. Maybe going away from home, you could set up in the 3-5-2 to maybe engage higher the front, dominate the midfield battle, and once you dominate the midfield battle, you tend to dominate the game. So I definitely agree with that. Phil, what do you think our problem is going away from home? Because Tottenham have only won once in their last 3 attempts at the Amex as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of what Brian said on board there. I think flexibility is what's needed. Well, Conte, one of his character traits is he's a very stubborn man, I would say, and he'll not change it easily. And we're all crying out for a 3-5-2, but okay, it worked a bit better against Frankfurt. It was our front three that let us down.
Yeah,
and we were missing those chances that we could have won that game quite comfortably on Wednesday night. So he might look at that and say, well, listen, there's nothing wrong with the midfield tonight. I'll just keep it the way it is. Hoping he does go for a 3-5-2, because I think Bissouma coming back to his old club would be a big plus too. He'll be able to show, what he can do still. But I'm not expecting any great changes today. I think he will go for the 3-4-3 again. And that might mean could be quite a long afternoon for us. But as long as the forwards click a bit better, like they played the other night, like they'd never met each other before. It was just, it was head scratching really how poor they were. And they had the chances, but just didn't take it. And there's another thing too that's getting to me. Ventrone died on what was it, Wednesday or Thursday there, right? Now, you don't die overnight from leukemia. I'm just wondering how long the squad have known about his illness, and would that have affected him in the last couple of matches?
Oh, I read something the other day. They weren't. They didn't know anything too much about it.
I'm sure Conte did, though.
I'm sure
Conte would have. They would have also. I think he would have wanted to confide in him and tell him. Obviously, it's something serious. I mean, unfortunately, I know quite a bit about leukemia. One of my cousins actually had it twice, when he was 3 and when he was how old would he have been? 12, and he actually missed my bar mitzvah because he was dying of leukemia. And thankfully he's still alive and he's beaten it. But it's something that can come over you like that with leukemia, and can be very quick. Like when like when you're going through and you go for tests, it's like, right, sorry, cancer at an advanced stage. It depends how quickly it would have happened, or how quickly he would have gone to a doctor, or it's an awful thing. But you're right, there would have been some people at the club, and that may have had a huge effect for. I didn't think of it that way. It could have.
He was at the Leicester match. He was at the Leicester match because he came out at the end and put his arms around Sonny for the hat trick. So now I don't think I saw him at the Arsenal game. So maybe that was when things came to a head, last weekend. But maybe it's something or nothing. But it's certainly, let's hope that the players go out today with fire in their bellies and going to win for him, because he was such an integral part of the. Okay, I'm sure they hated his guts after those 43 lengths of the pitch, but there seemed to be a widespread respect for him and a genuine love and affection.
And it was a massive part of why we got top 4, for being brutally honest. The squad hadn't been fit under Nuno, hadn't been fit under Jose, and he'd come in and got them to kind of sort of like elite fitness. I've never seen Harry Kane so trim, to be honest with you. So he's been a massive part of a lot of them in terms of fitness, in terms of diet and stuff like that. So let's turn it on for him today. Wayne Bonner says, well said, the pressure's on us, but with the recent passing, team spirit should be high and a hell of a performance. Any injury issues? I don't think it's still clear on what's going on with Eric Dyer at the minute. I think that's still up in the air. But apart from that, look, Kulusevski's still out. I believe Tanganga has a knock, so he'll be missing today. Emerson is suspended. Lucas Moura is out as well. So we do have a few injury problems. But look, regardless, now's the time to show our squad depth. Is it good enough to be able to go and get results when we've got players out? And that's the true test of it today. And look, I do sure hope the team spirit is high. I don't believe there's any reason not to be. We're third in the Premier League, 4 points off top. Today, if we win, we go 1 point behind Arsenal. They've got Liverpool tomorrow. That's still not going to be an easy game, despite Liverpool's form. So for me, it's all there to play for today. It's all there. We still have a chance to get out of the Champions League group. A win today away from home will give us good confidence going into Frankfurt, then followed by the home game with Everton. So today could really kick off this run of games up until the World Cup. So let's go and represent ourselves to the best we can. Hopefully the front three click today, Wayno, because for me, I think that's what it's all about. But that has to click today, if I'm being honest, Wayne. But Brian, the question on so many people's minds is whether Conte is prepared to revert to the 3-5-2. Well, here are the stats. These two managers have faced 4 times with all them games producing 19 goals. So, there's a lot of goals when these two managers come up against each other. Conte has won 3 and drawn 1, and Conte used a 3-5-2 in all of them meetings. What formation should Conte employ today based off that? Should it be the 3-5-2, considering it's been successful against this guy in the past?
I think those stats answer the question itself. I've been saying as well, I think with the 3-5-2, I said yesterday, I wouldn't be surprised if he picked Skip over Bissouma. I really wouldn't be surprised. And the reason I say that is obviously we've heard the noise coming out with Bissouma, and you heard me in your Twitter when you did your Twitter reaction after the game, when I put in there saying, is Bissouma getting kind of similar to the Spence treatment, and is he a club signing? You had a good debate on it, and like I said, the only reason I was saying that is because obviously in the media and in the press he's been kind of speaking the way he does speak about Spence. Yes, he had that game against West Ham where he was woeful, and he's covered and had bits here and there. But the one thing I do know is obviously Conte loves Skippy. And when he first came, he was ever present until his injury. And he knows that Skippy can do the job he wants. Bissouma, everyone's thinking will start because obviously it's back at Brighton, and we know. But I've got a real feeling that it may be Skip that starts. And
let me ask you this, Brian, let me ask you about Bissouma and Skip to maybe throw a bit of a spanner in the works there, or maybe make you think a little harder about it.
Okay.
So when you look at that midfield too, right? We obviously, based on what I just said there, with Conte's results against this guy, and he played 3-5-2 in all them games. When you look at that midfield, what does that midfield miss? And based on that, then who do you play? What are you looking for from that extra body in the midfield today?
So what I've said with this as well, and I said it before, the filth. And I've been saying it the whole time this season, is there's a few people saying they'd like to see someone like Kane, or if Kulusevski was fit, an attacking kind of guy that could drop back into to make it a 3. And for me, the way I've been looking at it is, like I said, we keep getting overrun in midfield and overloaded in midfield. All I want to see is 3 central midfielders go in there and just suffocate them and cut off their supplies to the front line. I want 3 midfielders in there to win that midfield battle, and then get it up to the front 2 as quickly as possible, which probably will be Kane and Son, let's face it. And them 2 together are dynamite. There is no disputing them 2 together. Regardless, they will cause absolute mayhem up top if they get the ball quick enough. So for me, I just want 3 attack dogs in midfield. When I look at Skippy, he's more disciplined, in my opinion, than Bissouma. And he can spray. I think his spraying of the ball, understanding of what Conte wants. When Conte is called upon Skip, he's like, right, he'll go in there, he'll do the job. I know what he's going to do. Bang. And you know what you're getting with Skippy. Bissouma is, and I love Bissouma. I think he's a great addition to the squad. I think he'll turn out to be a Spurs great. He's more like, we see what he did with Kane last year. He will mark a man out of the game. And obviously, he's got a bit, I'd say he's a bit more, or he is more skillful at getting past his man and everything. But I think in this game, what we need is, if we get the ball off them quickly, we need someone that could, for me, Ollie Skip's passing range like a quarterback. He could just spray the ball either way. And like I said, if we get the ball quickly, Ollie Skip's quick passing could be the key to it. So I think you got Ollie Skip, who's more disciplined and can spray the ball better. And then you got Bissouma, who can mark a person out of the game and obviously have a little bit of trickery to get past the player and move the ball forward with his feet quicker. So it depends what avenue you see you want to go down. And like I said, I would love to see Bissouma. I would love to see Skippy either. I think the main thing for me, and this is what I say last night at the Late Late Show, I don't think it's the personnel that I'm bothered about the most. It's the fact that I want to see three in midfield. That's what I want to see. I want to see the 3-5-2. So whether it be Bissouma or Skip, either way, I'm happy. But the most happiest thing I'll be happy to see is that we're going 5 in midfield to try something different.
Do you know what? For me, I think I would like to see Bissouma. Look, nothing against Ollie Skip. I'm a big fan of Ollie Skip, but I was impressed with how the midfield three complemented each other against Leicester. Bissouma was the middleman. He was the sitter. He anything that came in near him, he suffocated. He turned ball over. But it also allowed Højbjerg and Bentancur to actually go after the football with a bit of purpose, with a bit of aggression. And we ended up getting 3 goals from that, from going after the ball.
Yeah.
Bentancur one side, Højbjerg the other. It also gave our wing-backs more protection as well, but also meant that Højbjerg could start getting further up the field. Bentancur could start getting further up the field as well in terms of attacking play. So for me, and because Bissouma is playing against his former club, I think he'll have a point to prove to show everybody, hang on, he did make the right move this summer. I would actually play Bissouma. ACM says, regardless of what you believe the result will be, is anyone actually looking forward to watching this game tonight? My man, of course I am. At the end of the day, regardless of performances, no matter what, Tottenham are on the box. I always look forward to watching them. It makes my week. At the end of the, I always play Spurs songs before and Spurs chants as well. And like that chant goes, the thing I love most is being a yid, my man. And it does not matter. Rain, sun, or shine, it does not matter. I will always watch Tottenham. I get people frustrated with the football, but at least we're in every single game. And once the front three click, it will be a lot more exciting to watch. But never, ever, ever give up watching the games. Never, ever, ever give up on Tottenham, because you have to go through the pain. You have to endure the pain for the good times eventually to come. So I get what you're saying, but you've always got to watch every single game, man. Always. It's a sin if you don't. In fact, you should go to confession. So you should. Where am I? Yeah, so Philip, in all 4 meetings between these managers, De Zerbi, Sassuolo enjoyed more possession than Inter. Now, this is important for people to understand. This guy managed Sassuolo, and Conte was at Inter. Now, despite Conte winning all 3 games and getting a draw on one of them without losing, this team actually, this guy's Sassuolo team actually dominated possession. And in Italy, they're sort of considered as like minnows compared to like Inter Milan. And despite Inter Milan having the vastly superior and inferior players, this guy dominated possession in every single game. So, Philip, do you think bringing that extra body into midfield will actually give Tottenham control of the game like we're expecting it to do? Because Conte did play the 3-5-2, and this guy still dominated possession in all 4 games.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a few things to take into consideration here. This is your man's first home game, I think. He's only been with them for 2 games. Yeah. So he's not going to have had the time to instill all his beliefs into the team. The fact that he played, that Conte played 3-5-2 against him in the past might be a hint that he will do it again today. Hopefully he does. But I don't think, I mean, you can't really compare the two different, the chalk and cheese. Sassuolo, I think, were a struggling Italian team. We probably couldn't name any other players even. Brighton are a different kettle of fish. Brighton have come out of the blocks very quickly this season. They almost beat Liverpool last week in his first game. So we've got to give the guy some respect. But I think the fact that Conte is still Conte, he's still a much more experienced manager, a much more successful manager, and a much more clued in manager than this new Brighton guy. So while he'll be going out to make a big impression in front of the home fans today, the wily old fox is there. He knows what to expect, and he will set the team up accordingly. And just on that thing, I'm just reading something there that just after coming in on the wire, whether it's true or not. Spurs are about to offer Antonio Conte a new contract of $400,000 a week.
Give him $600,000. He deserves it, poor guy.
So whether that's true or not, But anyway, no, I think it'll be a good tactical battle today. It will be a good tactical battle. I'd say it could be like a Serie A match with 2 Italian teams playing each other. But I'm hoping that we tweak the lineup sufficiently. I would like to see Bissouma playing, to be honest with you. But I don't know. I mean, he's bound to be there wanting to prove himself against his old fans. Like I saw him play at Spurs last April, and he dominated the match. He was brilliant.
Outstanding. Outstanding in that game.
And I think actually he's not buying into Conte's tactics. That seems to be the reason he's not being picked every week. Because to me, when we bought him, he was straight into the midfield first game. But that just hasn't happened. It will happen, but hopefully
we have to understand though, the Conte has history of this, and he's never been wrong. When Eriksen went to Inter, he struggled to get into the team for quite some time. That much that we were actually thinking about loaning him back in January of that time. But, you know, he got up to the tactics, he got into the team, and he went on and played very well for him. He done the same with Fabregas when he walked into Chelsea that time. And then when Fabregas eventually got into the team towards the end of the season, he started looking a bit more attacking, and he actually went on and played a decent football. So I think with Bissouma, it's just going to take time. But Philip, let me ask you this. We are looking for the extra man to go in midfield today to try and gain control of the game. But, like I said, that guy dominates possession. So is there actually a call just to stick with the 3-4-3? And when we do counter, have that extra body up there to actually, you know, carry more of an attacking threat?
Oh, God, it's a good question.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is if we get overrun in midfield, that puts more pressure on the defence. And as we know, there are a certain couple of suspects. Okay, one of them is not playing today. But a couple of suspect characters in that defence. Eric Dyer being the other one, you know. So I don't know. I think I'd rather keep it so that the defense wasn't exposed as much as they would be if we get overrun in midfield. So I would go the 3-5-2. It's tricky though. It's tricky.
What I'm getting at is the 3-5-2 doesn't guarantee us possession.
It doesn't. But I mean, what we've got to do is get the ball and try and retain it more. I mean, look at the possession stats in our away games. We're not featuring very heavily in that. So with an extra body in midfield, at least we have the chance to keep the control of the ball a little bit more, which will lead to hopefully more service for the two boys up front.
I think we got to remember as well is maybe we were planning to go 3-5-2, but after the Marines passing, we don't know what's been going on in the training ground. Yeah. Antonio could be like, listen, you really think I want to just start talking about 3-5-2 and whatever right now? He's probably going through emotions that we can only imagine. So anything that he did have planned may have been like, right, I haven't got the energy or whatever. So we never know. It may have been. Today would be a 3-5-2, but because of the untimely passing and the tragic passing of the Marine, it could be right. Do you know what? I can't take training. I'm spending time with my family or his family, and it could have been right. We'll go back with what we know. So listen. Either way, we as Phil was saying, we need to get an away win, and whatever way we can get it is the most important thing. And as much as we want to see 3-5-2, like I said, 3-4-3. If we look at it, and we got, I'm a big culprit of this. I'm getting annoyed with the style of play. I accept it now, and the way we're playing football. But if you look at it right now, we're third in the Premier League. We've only lost one game, and we're playing Brighton today. We're the team below us on 3 points. We get a result today, we're still in third place. And let's face it, if people have said to you at the beginning of the season, come mid-October, we'll be third, only have lost once, blah, 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 we'd all take it. We'd all take it.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Something you said there. You're saying you're frustrated with Conte's style of play, which, look, I think the majority of Spurs fans absolutely are. Should we be careful, though, if we don't get the result we want, how we sort of frustrate our anger? And the reason why I say that, Daigle, is because we know that the media are going to use what Spurs fans are saying and start building a narrative around Tottenham fans aren't happy with Conte. Conte's unhappy at Tottenham, etc., etc. So do you think it's sort of important that even if we do air our frustrations at results, that we air them at the right person instead of Antonio Conte? So that the media can't build that narrative that Spurs fans don't want them, because we know that the owners will get sucked into that and they will pull the plug on it if they think Spurs fans aren't happy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll stay away from the owner part of this because I don't want to go down that fucking alley right now. Listen, the style of football, I now accept it. As I said after the Frankfurt game on We Are Tottenham TV, I said, you've heard of the Japanese torture, death of 1,000 cuts. Well, right now I'm dying of death of 1,000 minutes. Because the football, let's face it, is not the greatest. But we know that if we look at last season and how we ended it, and the 4-0 at Villa, and the 3-2 at Leicester, and 3-2 at Man City, there is some great football capable within that team. Something has happened since we started this season with the 3-4-3. If we start, even at the Southampton game, it looked like, right, here we go, we're kicking off where we left off from last season. But there's some kind of element missing. There's some kind of, I don't know what it is, I don't know how it is. And listen, I've been saying, if you were to tell me right now, we're going to play this style of football for the rest of the season, but we're guaranteed a trophy, I'm taking it all day long. Hands up, I'll take it all goddamn day long. And we have to understand what I think we're expecting is, because we've got Antonio Conte, who is right at the top of the mountain in the elite status. It means that we can literally think that we're going to get Poch football because he's at a higher. But that's not it. If you look at Conte, he plays like he always says: if you can't win, just don't lose. And he has team and players to find a way to do it. And there's just something, there's a spark missing from last season. And listen, we're in October. This bloody World Cup is ruining everything, because you cannot tell me players right now, especially, aren't concerned about picking up an injury or going in for that tackle in case they pick something up and miss. And you know what? That's no fault. You know what? You can't. It's not just happening to Tottenham. It's happening to every team in the world. The World Cup is on every single international player's mind right now and going on that play. So I think after the World Cup, you will see Tottenham come back refreshed, rejuvenated, and you will see more of last season. But right now, listen, I've come to terms with it and accept this. And like I said, when we were winning and picking up draws against Chelsea, it's look at that grit, look at that determination in the Chelsea game. Look, we didn't give up, that never say die attitude. But then when we do it against Arsenal or West Ham, it's like, oh, do you know what? This football's boring. It's very, very easy to turn its coin. So yeah, that's where we are. So that's where we are. No, it's not that, my brother. It's not that. But thank you, mate. Believe me,
at the Irish Hotspur Army, you're looking out for your health, though.
Oh, mate, everyone, you know what? People have always got my back, and I'm going through it. I've got to say this very quickly whilst this comes up. There's some people in the community that know the kind of grief and shit I'm going through right now, and the love and support I get via direct messages, social media, and WhatsApp with people that have my number is absolutely incredible. So thank you for that. It really does mean so much to me. But yeah, like I said, when it comes to the style of play, big up Terry, brother. We just have to accept it. We have to accept it. This is Antonio Conte, and let's look when he does what he does. It is what it is. He wins trophies. He wins trophies, and that's what we got to remember at the end of the day.
And that's it at the end of the day, Brian. Like, look, when we brought Conte in here, I think we all kind of knew it wasn't going to be this gung-ho attacking football that we all want to see. Now, I get he got his Champions League, but I also think we've been spoiled by overachieving, if I'm being brutally honest, because now people are expecting us to go and play this all in becoming sexy football, and it's kind of like, when you look at Conte, you just know he's a defensive guy first. He's going to make sure you're set up defensively solid so you don't concede, so that you can always stay in the game, and then hopefully you go and take your chances up the other end. And I get people are not happy with the style of football, but I do say to you, yes, under Pochettino, we got to finals, we got to semi-finals, cup run-ins, but what did we win? And that's why I'm prepared to give someone like Conte a chance. When you see the likes of Inter Milan, going and beating Juventus to a league title, when you see him coming in, walking into that Chelsea team after Jose Mourinho or turning it around and getting him to go and win a Premier League title, it's kind of like you can't question his methods because they do work. And if you don't have the players like a Man City, like a Liverpool, to be able to play that gung-ho football that they've played over the last few years, well, Conte's way is the great equaliser. And we've seen that with the points we picked up against City, with the points we've picked off Liverpool. We were unbeaten against them teams last season. So Conte's methods, tactics, and the style of play does work. And for me, I'm willing to give it a chance just because I want a trophy. 2008 is the last time we lifted a trophy. Playing gung-ho football has not worked. So let's try and give this one a chance, in my opinion. But but absolutely spot on. Philip, for me as well, it's important that we learn to engage the opposition higher up the field. Do you think Conte would have a game plan for that today? Because the warning signs were there, and we were absolutely punished against Arsenal for letting them have possession around their box, letting them pop little balls off for pop shots at our goal, which Thomas Partey ended up scoring from. So, but then in Frankfurt, we pressed a lot higher up the field. We actually got after the ball. So is it important today we actually adopt a similar sort of style of play today?
Absolutely. We can't adopt the style we played against
Arsenal. By the way, in midfield, he's scoring a few rockets.
Who's that?
McAllister.
Yeah, the Indian fella. Yeah, no, we have to do what we tried to impress against Frankfurt. We can't play the way we played against Arsenal, because that's a recipe for suicide. It really is. Brighton are too good a ball playing team to let them get anywhere near it. We have to defend higher up the pitch, keep them away from our back four for as long as possible. And yeah, the Frankfurt game was a big improvement on Arsenal, but then again, anything was an improvement on Arsenal, So, but let's hope he's learned his lesson there, and we don't sit too deep, because I think you say, Brian was talking about the 1,000 hours or 1,000. I'd be watching 1,000 cuts. So watching 1,000 cuts, watching Spurs play that way, it's just not good.
No, it's not good. I definitely think we have to learn, especially with McAllister today. Him and Caicedo have been absolutely brilliant in midfield, and McAllister has really come to the fore for Brighton so far this season. So it's important not to let him have any ball or even give any cheap free kicks in around the middle, because the guy is capable of hitting them. The guys, before I move on to right wing back, I know everyone wants to talk about that, but I actually have something I actually want to talk about more, to be honest with you. So we're going to start with what I want to talk about, and then we'll move on to right wing back. But lads, Spurs have faced 127 shots in their 8 league matches. The average, that's an average of 15.9. So basically 16 shots per game. It's our highest in a season since data was first recorded in 2003 and 2004. Simply, Daigle, is the amount of shots on our goal unsustainable?
100%. 100%. And the thing you got to remember, I think I was on your show, David, when we're talking about it, and we said a lot of these shots have tended to be from outside the area. So it's 16 shots is a large number, but a lot of them seem to be from outside the area, and obviously they haven't been effective. But as you were just saying, in McAllister, they have got a guy who has got one hell of a shot from distance, and you just got to look at that goal that was disallowed against Leicester. One of the greatest strikes of the ball I have ever seen. Unfortunately ruled out by VAR for an offside, and they've got people that can punish you. And it's been spoken about recently, and even last season, that Hugo doesn't. It seems to be the beginning of the end for Hugo. His shot stopping is still superb, let's face it, but you can see chinks in the armour starting to appear, and McAllister is a big worry when it comes to these long shots. But no team, especially if you're aiming for a title push or anything, should be able to sustain 16 shots on target. Now, whether this has something to do with the next subject, which is the right wing back issue, and the everyone is absolutely like just attack their right hand side because it's the way they're doing it, and also with Perisic, who's, I'd say, struggling on the defensive part. It's getting easier for them, and obviously we have Eric Dyer, who likes to stand back 10 yards and do this and not close people down. So there's avenues and areas of that defence to improve. But let me ask
you this: Is the amount of shots we face on goal, is that down to our tactics, or is it down to actually individuals?
That is, do you know what? This is, for me, this is one of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Because, you know what I mean? The thing is, if we played a 3-5-2 today, let's say, and we averaged, let's say, they only had 7 shots on target, I'm just plucking a number out of thin air, then you would have the evidence to start saying, right, the 3-5-2, we played it one full game, and we almost halved, or more than halved, what the average is. Let's see if it happens again. Then you could start to work out, and then you could say, right, it's tactical, or it's personnel. But whilst we keep seeing the same thing, I think it's hard to say which one it is because there's no variation to say right.
I actually think it's both, Daigle. Hear me out on this. I don't think the tactics help us the way we're set up in terms of everyone gets back, sits back into a nice cohesive shape, sort of block up the middle, and wait for them to make a mistake in possession, which does not help because obviously the deeper you drop, the more you're inviting them to pop shots off at your goal, whether it be from distance, whether it's from crosses, whether it's from putting the ball in over the top when someone running on the end of it. So we actually invite the shots onto our goal. But then that also reflects a personnel problem because we do not have the defense, that back line. And by the way, even Romero included, but it's for me, it's like Romero's way off standards from last year. In much as of a muchness, Langley has come in and been a bit of an improvement. But when you see fast, dynamic, tricky players running at our back line, their first instinct is to drop, which then, and the reason why they drop is because they're not good enough. They're not good enough to be able to deal with one-on-one or go and engage. But also, the reason why we don't always go full-on press against teams is because Antonio Conte is not stupid. He knows against the bigger teams, if we leave that back line with space in behind, they're going to be absolutely exposed. And we've seen that so far. We've seen that against Southampton, where I think it was Sanchez or Dyer missed a tackle on the halfway line. Højbjerg had to take a card. Same against Chelsea, it happened. And there's been a couple of times that's happened. Happened against, I think, Wolves as well. So, I think it's actually a bit of both. I think it's tactical, but the tactics are also set up to protect the back line, which then makes it an individual problem.
David, you know what I'll add to that as well? And I'm going to bring this guy up as well, because if we're going to mention Dyer, Romero.
I said that,
we know how much everyone loves him. We know how much. Listen, I personally think he's going to be one of the greatest centre-backs in world football within a year or two. You and Bob were going absolutely mental when we signed him. But he's come back from his injury, and we saw against Fulham that feeble tackle for Mitrovic to score. He has not been the same since the injury. I personally think he's been rushed back, and Romero's got to take some of the heat for that as well, because he's one of the, we heard in the media, I'm ready to play. He's so determined to play. He hasn't been himself since that injury. And why does he come right back in? Because we haven't got the personnel. We all know we should have got another centre-back. That's another discussion for another day. But he hasn't been his old self. We saw with the second goal against the Filth. Lloris's bad push out, Romero's touch, then Lloris. So personnel is actually coming more to, when I think about it, because like I said, Dyer, like we saw against Sporting Lisbon for the save that led up to the corner, he stands back now. This is his thing. There's no, like Van Dijk, there's no running out and closing them down. It's let's stand with our arms behind our back, which I hate this thing. If that was Michael Dawson, he wouldn't give an absolute blind. No. He would be putting his body everywhere he could to get there. So I think Romero's injury, Dyer's lack of closing down has also not been a great help to this 16 attempts on goal average. So I think you're right. There is case for both, but now I'm tipping more towards personnel as opposed to formation.
Yeah. Look, do you know what? I still believe it's a bit of both, but I definitely agree with you. I definitely think it does come down to personnel. Look, like you said, Romero's way off what he was last season with his aggressive nature, with him winning nearly absolutely anything that came near him last season. It snuffed out a hell of a lot. Whereas this season, maybe that's been lacking. So it does bring more shots on your goal. And look, Eric Dyer closing down, Brian, with that hands behind the back and constantly dropping, it absolutely drives me insane. It's like, look, go and engage him. If he goes to knock the ball by you, 2-foot the fucker. Take him out. Who cares? You know what I mean? He'll think about it again next time. He'll be like, oh, don't know if I want to take that from Eric next. You know? So it absolutely winds me up. But I think that's something we definitely should be keeping an eye on over the next few weeks to see if we can improve it.
Just to add to that as well, when you're playing grassroots football or Sunday league or whatever you're doing, your coach, if you were playing now and they saw you do that, they would go absolutely potty, saying, what the hell are you doing? Close him down. And that's a grassroots football. So I know this whole thing came in for the don't give a handball away, and I understand that when it's on the edge of the box and they're crossing it, but when it's a guy at the edge of the area who's lining up for a shot, that should be the very, very last thing you should be thinking of.
Yeah, 100%. And then Spurs you, Daigle, just quickly says, do you think Kane hates Levy as much as you?
Listen, mate, listen, this isn't even a competition. This isn't even a competition. There is no one. I proudly stand at the top of the tree when it comes to the Levy haters, and that includes players, ex-players, ex-managers. It's listen, like I said, when it comes to Kane, especially the situation we're in right now, this is why it's so important to get Conte's contract sorted. Harry Kane, year in, year out, has delivered on what he promised.
Yeah.
He has a set of objectives that is set to him every year. I want this amount of goals. I want you to spearhead. And every single year he delivers. Mm-hmm. And every single year when we hope that the deed is reciprocated and that man does it, we all know what happens. So yeah, I know Kane may have mixed feelings about him, but yeah, no one comes close to me with Levy out hate or Daniel Levy hate.
Definitely not. No one's in Brian's realm. I can definitely vouch for that. But Philip, as well, you heard me and Diego talking about the shots we're facing on goal, 16 on average per game. It's just not sustainable. Better teams will probably put 3 or 4 of them chances away. In fact, Arsenal put a couple away. Chelsea put a couple by us, West Ham put one by us. The better teams do take their chances. And this is what I was saying when the likes of people were fluffing up Davinson Sanchez, calling him the best defender in the world. I was trying to tell people it's against low block. It's against lower league opposition teams who do not carry a threat, but bigger teams will punish us. So, Philip, what is the problem back there? Why are we allowing so many shots on our goal?
We're letting the forwards get into. They're all getting overrun in midfield and getting too close to the defence and able to get shots away. Okay, not all those shots are on target, but they're still shots. But we better defend. We have five-man midfield in front of the defence, defending the midfield. I guarantee the number of shots against us will go down by half.
Yeah.
But teams are getting through. It's too easy to get away the shots at this stage, and that's the problem. It's. I mean, I'm sure. Hugo Lloris. Okay, he was badly at fault against the Arsenal for that second goal, but he should be marshalling his defense an awful lot more. This is why I don't agree with goalkeeper captains.
Yeah,
agreed.
I think a centre half or a midfield player has to be the captain because he can see what's going on around him, whereas a goalkeeper gets only a one-dimensional view of things. So, like I'm saying, like if you had someone in the back line being captain, organising, marshalling people, calling the midfield back to help out, I think we'd be far better off with less shots on target. It'll just be interesting today to see how many shots Brighton managed to get away, and I'm hoping it's going to be in the single figures, but I'm not that confident.
I can tell you now. Brighton will have double-figure shots today. I can just feel it when I look back at the way the games panned out in Italy. And actually, it's very interesting what Conte done with them games. Rather than actually try and play it through the midfield, they just hit long balls up to the forward line, up for Martinez to run in behind, up to Lukaku to hold up. So maybe that could be a tactic we'll see today. But I have no doubt Antonio Conte will look to draw them on and try and use that space and hit them on the counter like he done at Inter Milan. Because I watched highlights of a few of them games. It seems to be a common theme, but I can guarantee you now, with Brighton's movement, the way they are going forward, I just have a sneaky feeling they're going to get a lot of shots today. And I just say it to everybody, don't expect, and I don't want to hear people moan after the game about us not dominating possession. It's not going to happen today. I'm telling you before the game, it's not going to happen. Even if you put an extra man in midfield, this guy, Brighton's manager, he knows how to absolute dominate Antonio Conte's teams. He just doesn't know how to get a win over them. But do not expect possession today, whether it's a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2, because De Zerbi's men will have a lot of the ball. But look,
David, one more thing. They've let in 5 goals in the last 2 matches, Brighton. So just don't they
have the second tightest defence in the league, though, I believe?
Well, they let in 3 against Liverpool. They let in 2 against Leicester.
Well, I still think they have the second tightest defence in the league.
I'm just saying that if you've got a decent forward line that's on song, you can get at them.
Oh, no, 100%. 100% you can. Look, Antonio Conte's wins proved that. I think he bet him 4-3, 3-0. There was a 3-3 in there. Antonio Conte, like it does, you're right. There will be space there because there's some going ho. And what Antonio Conte looked to do against Sassuolo actually is target their centre backs because they did not have pace. So it'd be interesting to see if that's another ploy today, putting the ball in and around the defenders who do not have pace. It'd be very interesting. But I agree, Philip. We can definitely get at them. There's goals there for us today. Just depends on how our front three want to play, to be honest with you. Yeah. Hopefully they turn up today. And we'll talk about the front three. Harry Kane has a good record against Brighton. Son hasn't scored against Brighton in 9 games. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. But, Daigle, regardless of the formation, Emerson Royale is suspended. A lot of people are buzzing on this.
Yes.
For the next 3,
yes.
He's suspended for the next 3 fixtures. So Conte will be forced to make at least one change for today's game. Given his recent remarks about Jed Spence and Matt Doherty, which, by the way, I agree with the ones on Matt Doherty, maybe not so much on Spence, but I agree with him on Matt Doherty. And I actually think there's a method to his madness, which I'll explain in a minute. Actually, no, I'll give the method to the madness. Now, I think what he done is I think Matt Doherty hasn't responded to Conte talking about him in the press before or talking to him privately. And I think he's using tough love like he did when he first came into the club. He basically told Matt Doherty, "You're not a part of my plans." And Matt Doherty reacted by putting his head down. When he got the chance, he took it. Now, Matt Doherty, and I'm telling people now, I don't want to hear anybody tell me any different because I'm not going to listen to you today. I was at the Aviva last Tuesday watching him against Armenia. And he's just not the same player we've seen in them 6 games last year. He's nowhere near it. The guy will never get as much space in his entire life to make something happen down the right side or run at a fullback. And he refused to do it every single time, passing back inside the majority of the time. So I would say the confidence maybe in his game is just not back there yet. So I can actually understand if Conte has spoke to him behind closed doors. And he's also said in the press before, we'll see how he comes back from his injury. He's struggling from his injury. So he's protected him before. But this time he's called him out because it's gone too long. And maybe this is what Matt Doherty needs because he used tough love when he first came into the club. So maybe he just needs tough love to perform. Either way, I'd be surprised to see Matt Doherty or Jed Spence today. Brian, do you think we'll see Perisic move to the right with Sessegnon on the left, judging on the words Antonio Conte had for the 2 boys during the week, Spence and Doherty?
So this will be the final thing I say before I have to get to the yard and get ready to go do the pump up. So after everything you've just said about Matt Doherty, I've got a really bad feeling or weird feeling that he is going to start today. I as much as people are saying Perisic right and Sessegnon left, which is, listen, Perisic didn't play very good on the right at Leicester, and we changed it, and Sessegnon came in. But I could just see, like he did against Frankfurt, I could see him losing Sessegnon after Perisic is tired or whatever. And Sessegnon came on and immediately against Frankfurt put in a great cross. Yeah, it didn't go any further, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, I've got a feeling Matt Doherty will start today. I know you guys, both of you guys, see Matt Doherty a lot closer than a lot of us do, and even go to the Aviva and go and see him. So your opinion and your view and your knowledge of him is far superior than a lot of ours, especially mine. I just have a feeling he is going to start today. I really do.
That Conte is using the press to get him ramped up to come out and say, hang on, who do you think you are talking to me like that? You know?
Exactly. I mean, as much as, you know how we spoke about just before about Bissouma, and he may be doing what he did with Ericsson, and he may be doing, I think he's doing the same with Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence will be the answer, and Jed Spence will, when he gets his chance, take it. It's just at the moment, I think before the World Cup, he don't want to risk anything, and he wants to try and get as many points as he can. And I feel we are going to see Matt Doherty at right back today. I could just see it. And yeah, we will have to wait and see. But I will be able to see when I'm with you on the pump up. When I'm at a different location, I'm at the world famous home of Toronto Spurs, the Scotland Yard. So I've got to start getting ready to get down there. Guys, it has been wonderful spending some time with you. David, I'll see you soon. Philip, always a pleasure, mate. Everyone in the chat, have a great weekend. Let's hope Spurs don't ruin it. And obviously, I know David's just trying to find the Tottenham on tour link, if I know right. So yeah, listen, like I said, I have to apologise for us not being as frequent with new content as Brian Island has been extremely busy.
Don't apologise, Nigel. Don't apologise. I
do need to, because it's one of the things we kept. Every time we start getting a bit of consistency, just something seems to happen. And at the moment, there is a lot going on within the four of us, which is Ben Kaufman, who is flying out here on Monday. So this will be great. Maybe we'll do something with. We'll be great here. Danny Kiriakou, who is here, there, and everywhere, and got a lot on his plate. And obviously,
I have. He's the latest. He's the next one that has to be on.
Danny Kiriakou, if he tells me he's flying out, I'll put 6 years onto the actual arrival date because we all know Danny and his timing. But yeah, listen, everyone, wherever you are, enjoy the game. Come on, you Spurs. Follow Tottenham on Tour if you can. We're still 20 away from 5,000. We just can't get this 20. Is it time? Well, I've done the fingers now, so it's time I do it. And as always, Levy out.
Big up, Daigle, my man. I will see Daigle on the pre-match pump-up on We Are Tottenham TV. There'll also be Mr. Butler as well and Amir joining us. But guys, do get over. Check out the channel. The link is in the chat there, guys. So feel free to get over and smash that subscribe button. And we've got a comment here from DB. He says, big gutting Emerson not playing. His comedic performances are the only thing I've enjoyed in the last few games. Philip, big up DB. That's absolutely quality comment. Who do you think needs to play at right wing back today? And what do you think Conte will do?
Yeah, I'd say Perisic on the left and Sessegnon on the right is more than likely what's going to happen, because I don't know how he can play Doherty after the comments he made about him, to be honest. I know in psychology.
Do you think them comments, Philip, were to fire him up, like I'm saying? Because they did use tough love when he first came here on Doherty.
They probably were, yeah. They probably were. I mean, nobody would like Doherty to come on and be a success more than us, because he's Irish and he won. But I just don't know. He not only threw him under the bus last week, he reversed over to make sure. He literally killed the guy. So if he plays him today, it's because something else has happened that he can't play who he wants to play. Yeah. So interesting to see. I think it'll be Sessegnon on the right, not Perisic, because Perisic on the right against Leicester was woeful. He was really bad. It's only when he went over to the other side, his good side, that he started performing. So, yeah, I would say this talk is Dyer might be fit. So we might have an unchanged back. We might have Perisic on the left, Romero, Dyer, and Longley, and then Sessegnon on the right. That could well be the back five.
I've seen a lot of predicted lineups, Philip. They're actually predicting Davies to come back in for Langley, which I don't agree with. But I've seen it a lot of times where they predict Davies to come in for Langley. I think they just need to accept Langley is a far superior player, especially on the ball. Well,
let's face it, there has to be something has to give soon, because he played exactly the same starting 11 against Frankfurt that he played against Arsenal. And all this talk of how many matches have we got in October? 9 matches or 13 matches or whatever it is. Some crazy amount of matches.
From the end of the last international break to the break in the World Cup, it's 13 matches.
13 matches. There's got to be some rotation. I mean, these guys aren't Supermen. They're going to have to get a break sometime. So we'll see. Maybe that's why he'll leave Longley a break for this game today and bring him back in against Everton or something. You just don't know. We'll see. What time is it now? It's 3:00. Another hour and a half, and we'll know all about it.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to have to go and have some fizzy drinks, I think, Philip, because sometimes the football can't send me to sleep. John Fitzpatrick says Conte made sure he was finished. Yeah, that's what Philip reckons anyway. Not only did he drive over and reversed it back, he's got to make sure. Big up, Johnny boy. Jack, he says, Dave, my man, how do I become a member? What? Where and what do I do, my man? Talk to me. Yeah, look, my man, there's a join button on the channel. You'll see it when you go into the channel. There's a join button. Just click that, my man. There's 3 different tiers of memberships. Choose whatever one you want. And basically, the $4.99 one then opens up the fan shows every Monday and every Friday as well. And look, there's so many people with memberships and so many people that are coming on, I do advise you getting the memberships. And as you know, me and Jack will sit there all day long listening to whatever Spurs fans want to come on and have their say and whatever they want to talk about. So, yeah, just simply press that join button if you want. And, guys, feel free also to hit that super chat button and send them in if you have any feelings or thoughts for myself and Philip. But keep getting your comments in. As you know, I'm on fire since I started doing the hiking with the Outland in terms of my opinions, how I'm delivering them, and actually being so much better responding to comments and getting chats up during the show to go along. So big up, Jack. Feel free to do it. There's no need if you don't. I understand that the world is it's an expensive world we're living in at the minute. So only if you can, but don't feel free to do it, my man. So look, Philip, Daigle reckons starting to come in. I reckon we'll see Perisic on the right and Sessegnon on the left, but we will wait and see. We've spoke about the shots on our goal, which is definitely not sustainable. Now, let's talk about a Brighton player who pissed me off last year, Philip, is Trossard. He won the ball off Romero, done me the shot. Dyer turned his back and looked like a big baby being splashed by water, and he went on to finish it. He scored a hat-trick at Anfield. He's on form at the minute. Philip, what do we have to do to this guy to take him out of the game early? 2-foot him?
No, I'll put Romero on him. Keep him quiet. I mean, Romero was showing a bit of his old form there against Eintracht on the other night. He was very poor against Arsenal, but then again, so many more were as well. So Trossard is good. He's good. I mean, I don't think any player's ever scored a hat-trick away at Anfield or has done for years. So he's obviously firing in all cylinders at the moment. We'll have to watch him. But so keep. I say we have the 5 in midfield. Keep the Brighton attack as far away from our defense as possible. That's the key. If they run through us, Trossard's going to get chances because he's a clever player. He runs into space well. He'll find pockets of space that we need to close down on him. And he's the major threat to us today. He really is. But then again, I want to put the other. They're probably sitting in the same thing, wondering how they're going to cope with Son and Kane.
Very true.
So let's let them worry about us as well.
Very true. Look, do you know what I miss, Philip? I miss the first chance Romero gets. He smashes the opposition player. Takes the ball, absolutely smashes them. I think if Romero can get back to that, because I actually think that's been missing from his game since he's come back in this season. Whereas usually the first opportunity he gets, he smashes them. When he's in the game, he's alert. He's absolutely raring to go. So I would love to see him absolutely clatter Trossard. Absolutely abuse the guy. Go through him for a shortcut and then get yourself into the game. Because I've seen it last season. Seen it multiple times last season. The first player that attempts to go by him, he absolutely obliterates, and then they're completely taken out of the game. In fact, they don't want the ball. It's like, please stop giving it to me. Romero's going to hurt me. So I'd love to see Romero do that today. And John, my man, Gil Messi. Absolutely Gil Messi. Came on, done okay against Frankfurt. Maybe still a bit lightweight, but that little bit of corner, it's a piece of skill he done in the corner, my man. Absolutely gave me a hard on. Big up, John Fitzpatrick. Where are we now? So Philip, let's talk about the front three. We're going to move into the front three now. Now, I know we're not clinical right now, and it's the biggest criticism aimed at Tottenham Hotspur, Philip, but should we actually take confidence in that we're still creating chances? Because it's one thing not creating chances, but it's another thing creating chances and not taking them.
Look, it's only 2 games ago we scored 6. Remember that? No. Against Leicester. Okay, I know Leicester aren't the greatest team on earth. We are missing that creative spark in midfield, and we've known that since Eriksen left. And it's not been addressed. We just have to make do what we've got, and we're missing probably our most creative player apart from Harry Kane, in Kulusevski. And we're going to miss him today. Cutting in from the right there on his left foot. We're going to miss him badly. I don't know. It's creativity is an issue. It will be an issue until it's addressed, and when it's going to be addressed, I don't know. And then you've got the other problem is, where do you play a creative player? If you play a creative player in the middle 5, then you're sacrificing one of the Bissouma or Perisic or Bentancur or Højbjerg. So what do you do there? We need those two of them 3 guys in anyway. So I don't know. It's a bit of a quandary we find ourselves in, that Harry Kane has to drop deep to maybe provide the ammunition for Son. Coming deep and spraying those passes around. I don't know if you remember the Leicester game. I think it was after Son's second goal. Harry Kane put a ball down the line for, I think it was Bentancur, who crossed it to Son, who kind of stumbled as he hit it. And the goal rolled through. That's the sort of thing we need. Someone in the midfield that can spray those passes to the wide men to get behind the defenses. But it's happening too infrequently at the moment. We're not making those chances. The last 20 minutes against Leicester, we did.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I would like to see the midfielders. That was the biggest difference against Leicester. Seeing Højbjerg and Bentancur get into the box when given the opportunity. I would like to see that today, them getting forward and helping the front three a bit more. But look, we're still creating chances, and it's just a matter of time. Philip, me and you said this last year, and then from February onwards, we just went on a run where we're absolutely smashing teams. It's only a matter of time before we click and we start beating teams well. Rooty too says, surely we need players who are good, not just that bad. Look, I wouldn't buy into absolutely everything of people telling you we've got crap players, because we don't. Harry Kane is world class. Son is world class, and I've said this time and time again with these guys. Form is temporary, class is permanent. They're going to come good. They're going to click. No worries there. Kulu, world class, just out injured. Richarlison, for me, he's a striker rather than a winger. But you play him up front, you will get goals from the guy. Decent player. Højbjerg, a lot better than what people give him credit for. Jack brought up a fantastic stat yesterday. He's more true ball attempts than Kevin De Bruyne this season. He was absolutely phenomenal against Frankfurt. Bentancur is a very tidy footballer. Romero is a brilliant defender. Perisic is world class. Been disappointing with so far, but a very good player. We do have good players, my man. Don't buy into this that we don't have not players that are not that bad, etc. We've got good players. We're just not performing right now. But it will click. It will click. Just have the faith and have the trust. We do have good players at this football club. I just don't understand it either, to be honest with you. You know, these players were good enough to get us top 4 last year, good enough to get us from Europa Conference League to Champions League. But all of a sudden, because one loss against Arsenal, we've got shit players. The players aren't that good. No, bullshit. We've got 6 new signings. We're struggling to integrate them. Once they do, once they click, once we know our best 11, we will be fine. We will be absolutely fine.
I mean, look at the situation, David. We haven't played well, maybe in spasms during the previous 7 or 8 matches, and we're 3rd in the league. What's not to like about that? You know, I mean, when we do start playing, we're going to start blowing teams away, and we've been saying that for a while, and it will happen soon.
Yeah. 100% it will. 100% it will. I just do not buy into this that we've got crap players or we've got average players. I think it's a load of bull. Hasper TV says the front three is an issue. Richie is our weakest on the right. Kane is Son woefully out of form, and Son isn't adapting. Kane should play as a 10 behind Son and Richie in a 3-5-2 if you must play all 3. Understand that, but how many fans were crying last season that was too predictable?
Yeah.
Like this is the thing, we cry about it. Conte does something different, and then we want to revert to it. Like last season, we all cried, oh, it's too predictable putting the ball into Harry Kane and getting him to play others. So Conte said, okay, I'll play Kane up front. I'll get Son and Richarlison to start doing this sort of stuff. Like, what do us Spurs fans want? This is the thing. What do we want? We've done that last season. Everyone gave out about it. Now, all of a sudden, we want to go back to it. I get what you're saying. I believe we should go back to it. I do think we should go back to it, but I had no problem with it in the first place because he's our most creative player in the football team. He's got the best pass. That makes him, and the best long-range pass as well.
Harry Kane is 2nd in the scoring charts to Haaland at the moment. Harry Kane has 7 goals. Haaland has 14, but anyways, he's not even human. So, you know, Harry Kane off form with 7 goals. What's going to happen when he starts going on form?
Exactly. He's going to absolutely bang them in. Absolutely bang them in. But this is what I keep saying, though, Hasper, and this isn't a pop at humor, man. I just get frustrated. It's like we give out about it, then all of a sudden this season we want to revert to things that we've given out about last season. It's just annoying, Hasper. Just annoying, my man. But big yourself up, brother, and everybody get over and check out Hasper TV. Philip, Harry Kane missed a few sitters midweek, but has scored 8 goals in 10 appearances versus Brighton in all competitions. Do you think we'll see Kane on the score sheet today with a couple?
Yeah, hoping so. Yeah, I mean, it's only a matter of time before Harry hits the ground running again and gets his mojo back. I mean, to score 7 or 8 goals all season and not really play that particularly well just shows you what a player he is. I mean, if he was on the same wavelength that he was this time, you know, last season and season before, he'd be up there with Haaland at the moment with goals. So, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to catch Haaland this season unless he gets injured. But Harry Kane is always going to be our number 1 goal getter, and long may that continue.
Yeah, 100%. An absolutely brilliant record against Brighton. And look, he was in the right places against Frankfurt, maybe just a yard or 2 off it. Yeah. But hopefully today we'll see a much better performance. And you best believe he'll be hurting as well. So I think he'll come out here all guns blazing today. And I do think you'll see him score against Brighton. Seems to be, with that stat, a bit of a tradition. And plus, he looked good. He looked good against Frankfurt in terms of his haircut and the way his hair was. So I think he'll carry that into today and he'll get a couple of goals. Philip, Sonny has gone 9 games without scoring against Brighton in all competitions and has struggled in that department this season. But if we're playing a 3-5-2, surely he retains his place in the team over Richarlison for his creativity.
Yeah. I mean, Sonny, okay, he got the hat-trick against Leicester. He's probably gone back into his shell a little bit since then. But, class is permanent, form is temporary. And he's always going to, it's like cream, he's always going to rise to the top. So I was hoping he'd break his duck against Brighton today, because Son is such a perfectionist. He goes home and he watches all his performances on video, ironing out and watching the mistakes and the weaknesses. And so he'll know what he's done, hasn't done right the last couple of games. And he'll be rooting to get a goal tonight, as all the team should be for the Vertone. They should be going out there and busting a gut for that guy tonight, really.
Well, Son had a special place for him after his hat-trick against Leicester, basically saying that before the game, Ventroni pulled him aside and had a heart-to-heart conversation with him. So, I think Son would have the bit between his teeth today to go and get on the score sheet and, get one for Ventroni, Philip.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Steve Webb says... go on.
No, go on, no, that's it.
Steve Webb says, Larissa Forrester today. Look... I'm not happy with Larissa's the last few games. He looks rattled with the ball at his feet. He's pumped a few out over the sideline when there's no pressure on him. It's becoming irritating, but he's a world-class shot stopper. He's captain. I don't agree with him being captain, but he's been a brilliant servant to Tottenham. I don't even think it's a question, if I'm being brutally honest. I think he will start above Fraser Forrester, but maybe him coming out for a game and putting Fraser Forrester in might actually give Hugo a kick up the ass, my man. But Hugo starts every week, doesn't he? So I think it will be Hugo today. Philip, if Conte does decide to stick with a 3-4-3, Richarlison will keep his place. And for me, he needs to start delivering the goods on a consistent basis rather than a 10-15 minute period. And he's yet to kind of find his groove at Tottenham. I think we'll all agree that.
Yeah.
With Brighton today still finding their feet on the new manager, and there will be spacing behind the back line. Is this a perfect opportunity for Richarlison to score and start putting some respect on his name?
Well, I mean, no respect to Richarlison, but I would like to see us in not even starting today. I'd like to see him on the bench with a 3-5-2. Yeah. But if he does come on, I mean, he'll take. A new club. He's done okay. So he scored a couple of goals for us. He's probably just needs that little bit of confidence to maybe get a goal away from home, because both his goals were at our home place at the minute. He's going to be a very valuable player to us. He's just bedding in at the moment, and it will take him time. And but he's the type of player you want in your team when the chips are down, because he's a fighter. He's a fighter. We may not have had enough of them in the past, but now we've got a good few of them in the team. Like, we're a big physical team now. No team should be bullying Tottenham out of the way now, because we're very strong, physical, tall. No real small players in that team. So Richarlison, I wish him very well today, but not until he comes on as a substitute, because I want to see the two boys up front on their own.
Yeah, I want to see it as well. I want to see if there's more fluidity with the attacking play with the two boys up there. I think Richarlison, he's over eager to impress. He doesn't offer what Kulu does, which is holding up the ball. His passing is a bit all over the place. Richarlison's is, and he's caught offside an awful lot. And for me, I actually think he probably needs to be put to the bench to be given a bit of a kick up the arse. Like, hang on here. When the ball comes to you, you've got to be more fucking clinical. It's Tottenham Hotspur, not Everton Football Club you're playing with. So you've got to look after the ball when it comes into you. So for me, look, I think 3-4-3, it's without a doubt he starts. 3-5-2, I think he's got to make his way to the bench and use his minutes when he comes off the bench to make an impact. Now, as we said earlier on, Ventroni, we will pay our respects to him today. Our squad will warm up with T-shirts and pay tribute to the fitness coach, the late fitness coach. And both players on both sides will wear a black armband as a mark of respect. And there will be an applause on the 61st minute as well today. I think it's a minute applause before kickoff as well today. Tottenham, Philip, have had a difficult few days following the passing of Gianpiero Ventroni. And we definitely will want to honour the Marine, the professor, as people also call him, with a victory. Do you think Ventroni's passing might have an effect on the performance today, though?
I'm hoping it's a positive effect, because they'll want to show him that all his work was not in vain. That he's let's face it, when he came into the club 11 months ago, we were 20th in running stats, and by the end of last season, we were number 1.
Yeah,
and that's a huge improvement. He made a massive contribution to the club in his short time there, and the players loved him. Okay, they might have hated him a lot of the time, but they loved him, as a person, and he really put them through the hoop there, getting them fit. So I'm hoping that the performance today will be a credit to his work over the last 11 months, and a fitting testimony would be for a win today, and they'll all offer it up for him.
Yeah, I hope so. I think hopefully they don't want to let Ventroni down. They don't want to let Conte down, and they'll be gung ho. Hopefully you see a lot of bodies on the line defensively, but also a lot of bodies pushing forward to try and make that difference today. Hopefully, like you said, it will have a positive impact on the team. Hopefully not a negative one. But look, Philip, what's your score prediction, and where can people find you, brother?
Yeah, well, I'll be on the THFC till I die. Watch along this evening at 5:30 with Dermot and Ellie, I think. So I'm going to be very positive and go for a 2-0 win to Spurs. I think today our away form has to improve, and we need to keep the pressure on Arsenal and Manchester City. I'm just looking at both. Southampton have survived 10 minutes against Man City. There's no score.
I haven't even had that scoring. He's going to score an absolute fortune there. I'll tell you what.
So that's where I'll be. And 2-0 to Spurs, and onwards and upwards, and then with Frankfurt during the week. I can see us winning all 3 matches in the next 7 days.
Love it. Absolutely love it. That'll definitely make us a lot happier around here. But guys, there's the link. Get over, check out THFC till I die. Smash the subscribe button and support everything Philip and Dermot and Ellie are doing over there. Guys, we will see you back here at 5 p.m. for the watch along. Myself, Jack, and Sean Butler. So guys, make sure you tune in for that. It's always good crack. And also check out Philip's Daily Thoughts if you want something to watch between now and 5. Philip's Daily Thoughts are up on the channel. Check them out. People seem to be enjoying them. Great comments underneath. So keep getting behind Philip here, guys. It's absolutely brilliant to see what Philip is doing, and the confidence of a guy of Philip's age to adapt to YouTube and put out what he does. He absolutely loves it. Look at the smile on his face. He loves it. He loves it. Guys, get over there. Give Philip the attention. Check him out. For me, look, I'm going to go 3-1 today. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to go Harry Kane with a brace. And although Son doesn't score against Brighton, I'm going to go Sonny with 1. I think he'll do it for Ventroni today. Very close to Ventroni, Sonny was. So I'm going to go 3-1 Tottenham. But look, regardless, we want to see a good performance. We want to see a confident performance. And we want to see Tottenham come out with 3 points. As always, in Conte we trust. Come on, you Spurs. Me and Philip are off to do some seagull hunting.